Episode 8: Reformers, Resistance, and the War Within the Vatican. Every empire faces a moment where the old world cracks and something new tries to be born. For the modern Vatican, that moment began not with an enemy, but with a reformer, a man who dared to open windows in a palace built on secrecy. And the resistance he awakened was unlike anything the public was ever meant to see. By the time Pope John Paul II reached the final years of his papacy, the Church was overwhelmed. Financial instability, growing abuse revelations, internal factions, power brokers competing for influence. He appointed new investigators, created new commissions, attempted to clean parts of the system quietly. But age slowed him. And behind him, rival groups positioned themselves for the next era. The battle lines were drawn long before the next pope was even elected. When Joseph Ratzinger became Pope Benedict XVI, he inherited a fractured empire. He moved to confront corruption, especially within the Vatican Bank. He pushed for transparency in finances. He demanded accountability in the abuse crisis. But every reform uncovered something older, darker, and deeply rooted. Powerful clergy resisted him. Old networks resurfaced. Scandals multiplied not because he caused them, but because he uncovered them. A modern pope found himself at war with his own bureaucracy. Some called it the invisible civil war. Others called it something else, a palace rebellion. In 2012, the Vatican was shaken by a breach no one saw coming. The Pope's personal butler leaked hundreds of confidential papers, accusations of corruption, financial irregularities, internal power plays, letters begging for protection from the wolves within. The world saw what Vatican insiders always knew. The institution was divided, and its divisions were tearing it apart. The scandal wasn't the leak. It was what the documents revealed, that the Vatican was fighting itself. And Pope Benedict, a gentle academic, was losing the war. 2013. Something happened that had not occurred in almost 600 years. A pope resigned. Officially, it was due to age and health. Unofficially, the timing followed years of internal sabotage, leaks, resistance, and relentless political pressure. Historians accept his explanation. But the atmosphere, the shadows swirling around his papacy, made the world wonder, did a reformer step down, or was he pushed aside? The Vatican denies this, but the whisper of that question still echoes through its halls. When Pope Francis arrived, everything changed. He launched the most aggressive reform agenda in modern Vatican history, reorganizing the Vatican Bank, disciplining bishops who covered abuse, appointing outside financial inspectors, creating a council of cardinal reformers, reassigning powerful figures tied to old networks, attempting to dismantle decades-old internal factions. For the first time in generations, the Vatican had a pope who fought back. But with reform came retaliation. The more Pope Francis pushed, the louder the resistance grew. Some clergy accused him of ruining tradition. Some bishops challenged his authority. Leaks reappeared, Vatileaks II, exposing new struggles over money and policy. Retired officials publicly defied him, a rare break in Vatican protocol. Inside the Vatican, the battle lines hardened. Reformers versus traditionalists. Transparency versus secrecy. Old guard versus new vision. For centuries, the Vatican fought enemies outside its walls, but now its greatest war was within. 2020. For the first time in Vatican history, a cardinal was put on trial for financial misconduct inside Vatican City itself. Cardinal Angelo Becciu, once one of the Church's most powerful figures, was accused of embezzlement, abuse of office, and mismanagement of funds. The trial exposed secret investments, questionable money transfers, internal rivalries, and pressure from multiple factions. Whether Becciu fell by his own actions or was a casualty of the larger war remains debated. But one thing was clear. The walls were cracking. The Vatican today is not the fortress of the Middle Ages. It's not the Renaissance court of the Borgias. It's not the political empire of the 19th century. It is something far more fragile, an ancient institution wrestling with its own shadows, trying to reform itself, while haunted by the forces that shaped it. The war inside the Vatican is not over, and the next chapters will decide the empire's future. In Episode 9, we descend into the deepest vaults, the forbidden archives, and the documents the Vatican has never fully revealed. Not conspiracy, not fantasy, but the real structure of the world's most guarded library and the myths that surround it.